Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. This is Kalbe Abbas and I am here with another lecture on entrepreneurship. Today, the focus of our discussion would be a new model of developing business, which is business model canvas. So the agenda of my today's discussion would be, I would start off with a discussion on business model. Then I would also show you some of the examples of the organizations and different entrepreneurs who have used business model canvas to represent and to present their business models in a very graphical way. So starting on the discussion of business model. As you can see right in front of you, this is an ad of Xerox photocopier from the 1950s. If you can analyze this ad is based upon multiple dimensions of the very same product. As you can see on the right hand side, it is clearly mentioned that why you should be buying this product. Because it is easy to use, there is no risk to the original document that you are going to use, the operating cost is quite low, and you can use the plain papers. If you can see at the picture that is depicted in this ad, you can see that what kind of customers they are looking for. The majority of the customers that basically use Xerox photocopiers were office workers who wanted to improve their efficiency and their daily performances. This ad also mentions that if you think that this photocopier is expensive, you can buy this photocopier on lease, which is very favorable for such organizations that are smaller or with very less resources. So this graphical representation of an ad also presents some of the elements of the business model canvas that we are going to discuss today. Like this ad, canvas model is also a graphical representation of your business model. We would be using the elements of customers interface, we would be using the elements of how you can engage the customers, how you can find out the potential customers, and how you can produce more ease for the customers in our business models as well. So before we start our discussion on business model canvas, let us quickly recap what is business model. So in the previous chapter, we have discussed that what is meant by business model. Business model is how an organization is going to operate in the marketplace, how it is going to compete, and how it is going to interact with the marketplace. We have also discussed that there are four major components of a business model. A business model comprises of the core strategy of the organization. Then organization must also define that what are all of these resources that an organization requires in order to follow that vision and the objective that the organization is setting for itself. Most importantly, organization also needs to define that how it is going to interact with the customers. And what are some of the key partners or partnerships that organization needs to develop in order to deliver the value that it wants to deliver to the customer. Now this is the basic definition of the business model. Another definition of the business model that we can discuss today is that a business model basically describes the rationale of how organization creates, deliver, and capture values. This is the same thing that we have discussed in the previous slides. So as you can see in the model that is given in front of you, this graphical representation depicts how a business model works. The business model starts from the value creation or the product and services that the organization is there to offer. Then organization needs to think upon that how it is going to deliver that product and services to the customers. And once the customers are finalized, once the segment is finalized, the organization also needs to think upon that how that revenue would be transferred back to the organization. Here, let me give you an example of two different organizations that are selling the same products, but they are following two different business models. For example, you want to buy a keyboard for your computer. Now you have two options. You can either visit Happy Center and you can buy the keyboard from a local shop where you have to interact personally with the shopkeeper. You can inspect the product personally, you can pay the price, and you can buy the product, and you would have a very good personal interaction with that shopkeeper. On the other hand, you can also use online transaction modes. You can go to draz.pk and you can find the right keyboard for you, and you can pay online, or you can select the option of payment on the delivery, and that particular keyboard would be delivered to you at your doorsteps. Now, both of these business models, though they are selling the same products, are using different methodologies of delivering the products and then delivering the revenues from the customers back to the organizations. So, in many of the cases in business models, the product can be the same, but how the value is going to be delivered to the customers and how the revenue is transferred to the organization and how the organization is using that revenue to improve their products can also be different. So the business model have different elements, and by tweaking and changing just one element of that business model, we can actually come up with a new and innovative business model. In the example that I have just quoted, if for you it is more convenient to visit a Hafiz Center, and if you believe that that personally visiting Hafiz Center and inspecting the product in hand is more convenient to you, then you should be using the first organization's business model. On the other hand, if you believe that you have less time and it is always convenient for you to order online and the product will be delivered to you, and you find more value in it, then you should be going to Daraz.pk and buying product from there. So what is the convenience or what is the value of business model? It all depends on the need of a particular person and how that person perceives the value from a certain business model. So let us start our discussion on business model canvas. As I've told you that we have started our discussion on business models in the previous classes. But the format that we used in order to develop the business model was of a very lengthy document-based format. Business model canvas basically provide us with all the tools and all the formats that we can use in order to analyze the business models. It also provides us a very graphical representation that gives us lots of information about how the business is going to work or what model this organization is going to use in a very short span of time. So as I've told you that by using business model canvas, you can create a business model in a very easy way. And most importantly, you can improve and upgrade the business models, because business model canvas basically divides your complete business model into 9 different segments. And if you want to improve any particular segment, you can just go to that particular segment and you can improve or you can change factors that you have mentioned in that very business model. So as I have told you that business model canvas basically comprises of 9 different segments. This is an example of business model that is right in front of you. As you can see that the complete business model is basically divided into 9 different segments. As you can see under the section of customer segments, the entrepreneur has to mention that what are all the customers that he is going to target, what is the specific segment of the customer that this entrepreneur is going to target, and why he believes that this segment is interested and this segment is attractive for the business that he wants to carry on with the product that he has developed. And if you look at the key resources section, you can find out all the resources that this organization requires in order to become a successful organization. The entrepreneurs needs to mention all the physical resources, human resources, financial resources, and technological resources that this organization requires to operate in a very successful way. So I would be explaining this business models and all of the elements in this business models in bit more detail in the coming slides. This is just to give you an idea that how a business model canvas actually looks like and what are the 9 components of the business model. So before we start our discussion on 9 different components of business model, let us discuss that why we need to develop business models. And we have done this discussion briefly in our previous slides as well. As I've told you that business model canvas provide us a very easy way that would depict our business model in a very visual and graphical format. It gives us an idea that where are some of the weaknesses of our business model and where are some of the key strengths of our business. It also provides us a very easier way to edit and modify different segments of the business model. Most importantly, the third reason why we need to use business model canvas as the main format of developing business model is that business model canvas can be used for any kind of organizations. Even large corporates, they are also using business model canvas to depict or to represent their upcoming new innovative products. On the other hand, startups and young entrepreneurs can also use business model canvas format in order to represent their business business models. Many of the organizations nowadays are focusing on innovative products. Entrepreneurship nowadays is not only limited to young startups or people who are starting the business for the first time. Entrepreneurship has now expanded into a new concept of entrepreneurship, in which the organizations also come up with entrepreneurial ideas and innovative products, and they also pursue opportunities regardless of the resources, according to the definition of the entrepreneurship that we have discussed in our very first chapters. So even if you belong to a large corporate, or if you are working on a project that is provided to you by a huge corporation or an organization, you can also use business model canvas format in order to represent not only your ideas but also the business value that this idea would bring in. The fourth reason why we have to use new business model canvases is that it also clarifies all the different aspects and how different segments of this business, or how different elements and variables of this business are interdependent or are affecting each other. As I have told you, that every business or all the elements that we have to include in our business plan or in our business models, they affect each other. For example, the most important factor for any organization is that of the customer. The customer basically defines that what is going to be the price of the product, how that customer wants that product to be delivered to him, what is going to be the overall quality of the product. Every factor would change with the change in the type of the customers or the segment that we are going to choose. For example, even if you are a clothing brand, the gender would specify that what kind of clothes you are going to develop or you are going to manufacture. Even in a single gender, age is going to define that what type of clothes you are going to sell. For example, if you are going to sell clothes from 5 to 10 years of little girls, that those clothes would be very different as compared to the clothes that are worn by 30 to 40 years of ladies. So the age also defines and segmentize the market that you are going to select. Everything changes with your customers. So now let's start our discussion on 9 building blocks of a successful business model canvas. The very first segment that we are going to discuss today is that of the customer segments. Customer segment basically means that you need to define that what is the type of the customers you are going to target. You need to segmentize, or you need to divide the complete market into small subsections. So as I have told you, that you need to define and you need to divide the markets into small subsections. You can divide this market into small subsections based on multiple categories. You can divide this market on the basis of geographical regions, maybe gender, age, behavior, interests, which means that you can divide the markets on the basis of personal characteristics, demographic characteristics, and even psychological characteristics. Now, what help does segmentation brings in? The basic reason of segmenting the market is that because we assume that all the elements or all the customers that belong to one particular segment have unified or similar needs, and it becomes easier for the organization to understand those unified needs and to understand and to cater and to develop products that would specifically target that very segment. As I have given you this example before, that if you are going to design clothes for 5 to 10 years of young boys, on the other hand, the clothes that are worn by 25 to 30 years old men are quite different. So you need to decide that what kind of segment or what type of customers you are going to target, and for which kind of customers you are going to develop your product for. The segmentation also helps you to define that what particular segments are not very attractive, and you would simply decide to ignore those segments so that you can focus on such segments that you believe are more profitable. As I have told you, that organizations can actually select multiple segments to target. Many a times organization needs to have a strategy to follow when organization is going to select a market segment. There are different types of segments that organization can choose from. Many of the organizations, they go for mass market. A mass market segment is basically followed by such business models that are developing products that are attractive to lots of segments, or they are basically trying to cater or target general public rather than some specific segments. For this kind of business model, you need to have such product that is equally appealing to all of the segments that are there in the market. For example, we can take here the example of cell phones. The cell phone with the same features can have utility not only for young kids but also for boys and girls, or men and women of age 40 and 50. They can use the same cell phones which have the same features for different purposes, but the same product can be catered and same product can be marketed to all of these different segments. Mass market basically means that you have just one product, and with the same features you are trying to cater general public or all the major segments that are there in the marketplace. Another segment that the business model can follow is that of the niche market. So niche market is basically followed by such business models that are catering those people that have some unique needs. And because these people have some unique needs that are not catered by majority of the organizations in that marketplace, we have to customize the value proposition, the distribution channels, the customer relationships. Everything should be customized according to the need and specifications of these people. And because these customers are very few in number, we call them niche markets. These niche markets are available in every marketplace, and we just have to identify such customers which are not being satisfied to the fullest when it comes to different products. Here I can give you the example of Daisy Guitars. Daisy Guitars is one of the brand that was developed by Daisy Bell, and that it is currently being sold in America. Daisy identified that though women also use guitars nowadays, there was no specific guitar that is formed or specifically made for the women guitarists. So she designed a guitar which used the colors, the specifications, the weight that was very suitable to all the women guitarists that were around. And because of that, the Daisy guitars are now very famous among all the women guitarists in America and all around the world. So this means that the business model can also be successful by finding out such market or such segments in the markets that are not being satisfied to the fullest currently. Another segmentation strategy that the organization can follow is that of the segmented strategy. Segmented strategy basically means that once the organization has selected a very segment, we can further segmentize that single segment into further subgroups. As I have given you example before, that if you want to do a business of clothes and you have selected to sell the clothes from 10 to 15 years of young boys, you can actually further segmentize this whole market into young boys that are going to school, or casual clothes, or formal clothes, and you can further develop products and services that would cater different segments within that very segment. In Pakistan, you can find lots of organizations that are following this strategy. For example, Diners Clothing is one of the brands that is following this very strategy. If you go to a diner store, you can find casual clothes, you can find formal clothes, you can even find shoes, belts, everything in a single store. So basically they have selected a segment of clothing, and then they have further segmentized that market into further subgroups that they are catering to. Another strategy that organization can follow is that of the diversified strategy. Diversified strategy basically means that the organization is going to select many diversified and different and differentiated segments in order to enhance their businesses, or in order to produce the product and services that it wants to produce. For example, in Pakistan, we can take the example of Gourmet. If you look at Gourmet, the overall portfolio of Gourmet is very much diversified. Gourmet is also in the bakery business, it is also in restaurant business, hospitality business, and currently Gourmet has also expanded into the media houses as well. So Gourmet has a very diversified portfolio when it comes to doing a business. And all the segments that Gourmet is going to cater with, all the differentiated products and services that the Gourmet is going to offer, has all the unique needs and differentiated needs. Gourmet is competing with the media houses when it has opened GNN. Gourmet is competing with restaurants when it has opened or started to operate Gourmet restaurants. And Gourmet is competing in the bakery industry when it is operating the bakery products or bakery retail outlets. So with all the products and services that Gourmet is offering, all the diversified products and services that Gourmet is offering, Gourmet is also dealing and competing with very diversified industries. Another strategy that organization can actually use in order to further define its business model is that of the multi-sided markets. Multi-sided markets basically means that the business model that the organization is going to design is not only going to cater the customer side, but it is also going to cater the supplier side. Here I can give you the example of Daraz.pk. At Daraz.pk, not only the customers can find the right buyer, but buyers can also find the right customers. So Daraz.pk is providing a platform that is not only providing facilities to the sellers but also to the potential customers. The same is the case with the Uber. Uber also has a multi-sided business model. On Ubers, not only drivers can find the potential clients, the clients and the people who wants to be transported can also find the potential drivers for which they can share the rides with, or they can use the transportation services. The second component of the business model is that of the value proposition. Value proposition basically defines that why your business exists, or what is the solution that your business is going to provide to the potential customers. So as I've told you, that the value proposition side of the business basically defines that what solution your organization is going to provide to all the potential customers. Your value proposition can be quantitative or it can also be qualitative. Quantitative basically means that your value proposition revolves around all the quantitative features like the price, the speed of delivery. On the other hand, the qualitative features basically means that your value proposition or your business model revolves around customer experiences, designs, and the actual product appeal that your product and services are going to bring in. Many a times the value proposition basically defines that why your organization exists and what your organization is going to provide to the customers. The value proposition also defines that what type of products you are bringing into the market, whether your product is a new innovative product that is coming in to disrupt all the existing products, or does your product is the same existing product. In both of these situations, your business model is going to define that how you are going to cater the overall operations of your business. In case of new innovative products, you probably need to invest more in marketing, but when it comes to the existing products, you need to think, and you need to think very carefully that how you can differentiate the product from all the other features that are not related to the very features of that very product. For example, if you are going to cater the same products that already exist in the marketplace, you need to think upon that how we can reduce the price, or how I can enhance the quality, how I can enhance the delivery, or how I can enhance the overall customer experiences. What value proposition you are going to bring in on the table would actually define that whether you would be able to attract the customers in a proper way or not. So value proposition actually means that what value you are going to bring to the customers and how you are going to attract the customers. What are the problems that you are going to resolve? What are the pain you are going to resolve? Or what is the luxury that you are going to give to that very customer? So this brings me to the end of today's discussion. In today's lecture, we have initiated our discussion on business model canvas. We have also recapped all the elements of business model, and we have also discussed that why developing business model canvas is a more efficient way of representing your business models. We have also started our discussion on 9 different components of the business model, and out of those 9 components, we have discussed the customer segment part and the value proposition part. Inshallah, in the next class, we would be discussing the 7 remaining segments of the business model canvas. Till then, I want you to take very good care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.